Up, y'all? So this year we were extremely blessed. We had so many good releases, so many good guns come out this year, so many iterations of guns that have came out in the past that we've been asking gun companies to release new versions of, and they have. But as I do research and think back on the guns that I've shot and the guns that have came out and guns that I've seen other people shoot, et cetera, and try to make a video on gun release of the year, gun of the year, I think the one thing that has to be there. The most important thing for me is accessibility, because if the gun is not accessible to the average Joe, to the regular American, then to me, it does not meet the criteria, because it's just not accessible. It's just not, this is not why we do what we do. I feel like two-way should be for everyone. And if we are putting together a list of guns for a calendar year and that gun wasn't accessible to most Americans, to me, it does not fit the criteria to be gun of the year. So that's just me, though. Somebody may disagree. You tell me in the comments if you agree, if you don't disagree, but that's just my way of doing the grading. Now, the two guns that made the finals were, as you saw in the thumbnail, the Canik MC9 Prime, that a lot of you are big fans of, and the Ruger RXM, which a lot of you are also fans of. So now, they're very similar as far as like weight, size. I mean, these are pretty much, at least the Prime is like a slim uh Glock 19. If you put it next to my Glock 19, it's like a slim version of it. Some people may say, well, why not carry a 43X if you like carrying it? Well, you get more here, but we'll get to that. But these two were the finalists, and they have a couple things that they tie as far as like I like things I like from both of them that are pretty much the same on both. And then there's a couple pros on each and then a couple cons on each, and then one edges out in the end, and I'll let you guys know in the end which one I ultimately would go with as the winner. You let me know in the comments who you would pick or which gun you think is the gun of the year. But to start off, accessibility has to be accessible. You can get a Prime pretty much, I wouldn't say anywhere, but it's readily accessible. And then you can get an RXM. I mean, I got this at Academy for like 380 bucks. So readily accessible. So that checks that off. Other things that I like that are in both are the capacity. In the RXM, you get 15+1, and that's just with the 19 configuration. They have said, Ruger has said that, or Magpul, Ruger, whomever, they said that they will be releasing 17 sized grips, so you'll get a little bit more capacity with that. With the Prime, you get 17+1. So capacity is there, and it's really no complaints there. That's plenty. And if you carry with a, for example, a rig, you have an extra mag there if need be. The next thing will be comfort. They are both super comfortable to carry, in my opinion. Again, they're just, mid-sized. They're comfortable to carry, especially the Prime. It just kind of disappears, to be honest. It does if you put this next to the 19, it looks like it's the same size. If I had my 19, I'd do it, but a comparison. But just the way the ergonomics work on the Prime is just super comfortable to carry. And by the way, these are all empty, of course. But super comfortable. They're both super comfortable to carry. Now, other things that both have that I like are, again, accessibility for when it comes to parts and when it comes to things like magazines. Back in the day, it used to be a bitch to get Canik magazines. It may still be in some parts of wherever you may be living at, but for the most part, I think they're pretty accessible now. The RXM, pretty accessible everywhere. Their parts are pretty accessible. I run my RXM with Glock mags and Glock parts, so again, very accessible, comfortable. Yeah, they're pretty similar in that regard. Now, where we start to veer towards pros and cons for each. Now, for pros, I'm gonna go into the Canik first. is obviously this trigger. Now, I'm not a trigger snob by any means, but there is just something to be said about these triggers. Now, you do not need a Freedom Smith trigger to get these crisp uh pulls. It comes stock with, at least the Prime comes stock with, a pretty nice trigger shoe. I just switch out these trigger shoes because I just like to add a little bit of personality to my guns to, make them mine. And that's just me. If you like to do that as well, I'm sure there's a lot of people that like to do the same thing. But you'll get pretty much the same results with the stock trigger that comes with it. So, man, these triggers are really, really nice. Anybody that shoots my guns, my Caniks with these uh triggers that they come with stock, um, they're just blown away. So that's number one, the trigger. Number two has got to be the value in everything that you get when you buy this. I got this, there was a sale going on. There may not always be a sale, but I think top end right now, I'm seeing people get these for like 550. You can even get them used for 5. So the value you're getting for what you're paying, as far as like, a ported gun, nice serrations, it just looks cool. The trigger, the mag well, the stippling is not too bad. It's comfortable in the hands. It shoots super flat. It's a comfortable shooter. Everything that you're getting for what you're paying for, it's an extreme pro. And again, I mentioned the ergonomics earlier as far as like carrying it, but as the ergonomics as well for when you're holding this thing. Like anybody that has a Prime, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Super comfortable. It's everything just seems to fit. I don't know if the guys that engineered this, they knew exactly what they were doing. It's just everything just come together really, really nicely. So those are some of the pros for the Canik. There's plenty more pros that we can talk about. For those were some of the ones that I'd like to highlight. I mean, you obviously comes optic cut, um, ported, all that. Again, if you own a Canik, Caniks, they do a good job. They do good work. Some people may have had issues with the original MC9 back in the day, but I'm pretty sure those issues have been corrected. Um, I'm sure some people out there may still get lemons. I mean, these are mass produced, so you're bound to have some lemons in there. But for the most part, I think that the value you're getting for what you're paying is astronomical. Now, as far as like the RXM, pros for the RXM is number one, has got to be access to the Glock universe. I think that that's a huge pro. Having access to the Glock universe, Glock mags, Glock parts. I think that's huge. Like I said, I don't run these Magpul magazines in my carry guns. I'm just not a fan. It's not that I'm saying that they're always malfunctioning. I'm always having issues, but I've had enough issues with these at ranges that I'm just not a fan. So I just get Glock mags and I run Glock mags in these. So I pretty much strictly use these at the range. But access to that Glock universe is a huge plus. You can get parts anywhere. Um, and it's bountiful, it's plentiful, it's everywhere. So that's number one. Number two, modularity. And I know you guys are fucking sick and tired of hearing about modularity, but honestly, I believe that modularity, that word, what has been used too early by companies that weren't doing anything modular. And now that things are actually becoming modular, people are kind of like, there's modularity fatigue, I guess you could say. So, but yeah, this thing is modular. They're already coming out with grip sizes. These grips are like 40, $50. I dyed this myself, OD green. Um, and I think that's a huge plus. The fact that I can just get a bunch of grips, dye them a bunch of different colors, get them stippled a bunch of different ways, practice my stippling. I can make this gun mine. I know that to a lot of people that may not be a feature to make something yours, but in my opinion, life is short. Life is short. You're spending all this money on these things, cars, houses. It's like when you ever meet someone that they move in somewhere and then it's been like 10 months and all their shit is still in boxes. Like, damn, bro. Like, unpack, put up some pictures, decorate, make the space your own. I just believe that life is too short to just just do the bare minimum, expressing yourself. Express yourself. And I like to do that. And I like companies that allow me to do that with their products. So this being modular, plenty of things I can do with this. And it may seem like I'm spending more money buying different parts in different configurations, but I'm actually saving money without having to buy more guns if that's the route that I wanted to take. So super modular, really love that. And then again, same thing with the Canik, the value that you're getting. I got this for like, I think it was like 360, 370. And I routinely see these between 390 and $400. So the value is there. What you're getting, I haven't heard many people have issues with their RXMs. This thing's been a tank, honestly. I'm excited for them to release the 17 style grips. Maybe they have already. I haven't been keeping up with that lately. It's been a little busy. That's why, it's been a while since I've recorded a video. So appreciate the patience. But once they do, I'm getting a couple, of course. So the value that you're getting is there. Now, so there's some couple cons for both of them. I'm going to start cons with the RXM since we're here with the RXM. Number one is going to be tolerances. Now, this may necessarily not push the needle as far as like reliability and being able to defend myself and or go to the range and have a good time or whatever, because the gun still works. I've hadn't had any reliability issues or anything like that. And this is also a $400 gun. So I'm not really complaining, but just the tolerances and just the way that things fit together. And this is not just on my RXM. I've seen it on other RXMs as well. Like, for example, I know you guys see that big ass gap, no gap in the back, but gap in the front. Some parts you can pretty much see right through the gun. And, I can squeeze this and the gap closes. And it's just the way these things are made, the way they're machined. I'm not going to nerd out on that, but again, it's not really like a complaint per se, because I know what I spent on this. I know the value I'm getting from this, and I know that this is not a $3,000 1911. So, but yeah, that's one of the cons. As far as like, sometimes it can bug me a little bit that it's just not straight and it's not tight and it's not, you know what I mean? Because it can be done. It can be done. But sometimes I have Glocks that have the same issue. So maybe they're going all the way with, you know, mimicking Glock, I guess. So, but yeah, that's a con. Second con would be, again, that it comes with these Magpul mags. Now I get it. This is a Ruger Magpul of collaboration. So obviously it would come with Magpul magazines, but I was just hoping that they would have fixed these mags already. I don't know what the hell is wrong with them. Somebody in the comments will probably let me know what is wrong with them. I'd never cared enough to try to fix them or whatever. I just don't deal with them. I just use them at the range. But these mags kind of suck. And it's very unpredictable. Sometimes I go to the range and they don't suck. Sometimes I go to the range and they do suck. So it's very unpredictable. Don't like that. So that's a con. You just have to get Glock mags. But other than that, I think the last con that I would probably bring up again is the sizing of the trigger guard here. If you're wearing gloves, you live somewhere that's cold or wherever, you're wearing gloves, and maybe you have a little bit bigger hands, and maybe a bit, maybe a little crowded here, a little tight, opposed to with the Prime, there's ample space there, even if you're wearing gloves. Uh, but other than that, those are the things that I can speak on that are worth mentioning. Everything else is everything else. And what I mean by that is they're good guns. Everything else works. The one other the cons that I'm gonna say about the MC9 are, there's a couple of them. Now that we went over the RXM, I know some guys will be like, well, what about the Prime? Hold on. So number one is this mag release. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm shooting. I'm ready to do a mag release. I get it that my hands may not be perfectly there to be able to do a mag release, but you see that I'm clicking to release the mag. The mag's in there. I'm clicking. You hear that clicking? It just kind of rubs, and then if I have to really press it, and then it comes out. And like if I'm pressing it directly, it'll come out. But like I have to reposition my grip and then really get in there for it to come out. But if I'm shooting, I'm lazy about it and I'm just hitting it from the side sort of so I can keep my grip. I can't. And this is pushing it halfway maybe. Nothing happens. I have to really like, and then it comes out. That's a con for me. Many of my other guns don't do that. Like for example, RXM grip. I can, yeah, there you go. Don't have to change my grip. I mean, I can if I wanted to, but don't have to. This thing, it just, again, and there it goes. So that's a con for me. I don't know what that is. Maybe I have to do something. You guys let me know in the comments if you've had this issue and how you corrected it. But that's number one. Number two, it would be the magazines themselves. Um, they change their geometry, so some of the mags that you have for your Canics are may not necessarily be good to go in your prime. Now I have to double check some of my mags, and maybe I'll do some B-roll, confirming that because I don't have them out right now. But I remember that being an issue for me. And then lastly would be these ports are awesome. They look great. Fireballs are great. Yeah, it looks badass, but it makes this gun considerably louder. So if you're concealed carrying this, that's something to keep in mind. If you ever had to defend yourself somewhere, you have your family or kids with you, maybe you're in a car and you forget to put the window down before you have to defend yourself, and you defend yourself with this, you most likely will blow everybody's eardrum. So it's very loud. So that's just something to consider. It may not be a con for most people. I consider it a con solely because I consider this a carry gun, a gun that's typically bought for people to carry comfortably. Um, and when you're carrying, you don't have ear pro on. So you can't, oh, hold on, before I shoot this guy, let me put my ear pro. It doesn't work that way. You have to do what you got to do. And you just got to remember this thing is loud as hell. So just something to consider. Also, controversial take. I think that anybody that shoots guns or carries guns should experience what it's like shooting the gun without ear pro on. And I'm not saying sitting here just shooting guns with no ear pro, which people do, whatever. And I'm not encouraging that, but you should have an idea of what a gunshot sounds like with no ear pro on at least once. For multiple reasons, we can have another video on that, but that's just a controversial take. I wanted to throw that tidbit in there. But which one for me edges on as gun of the year? For me personally, it would be the RXM. Despite the tolerance issues, it will be the RXM. It's just a lot more versatile in my opinion than the Prime. I can do a lot more with this. If I was an average Joe and I didn't want to have a bunch of guns, this can go a very, very long way. I can throw it in chassis systems. I can do a 19 style setup just like this. I can get an extension, a +2. When they come out with the 17 style grips, I can do that. To me, it's just a lot more versatile than the Prime, but you know, just barely in my opinion. So great guns. I think you won't go wrong with either or. And I think these are cheap enough that I don't like encouraging people to like make purchases, but like if you can do it, I think these are great pickups. You just get both of them. So, but for me, RXM, uh, I don't know, just access to that Glock universe and the value that you're getting, to me, RXM is gun of the year. Some people may disagree, and that's okay. You let me know in the comment sections what you think and what the gun of the year for you is, and maybe what your criteria are, because I think context is important. Um, and lastly, you don't need to do any of this. You don't need to switch out triggers, at least on these mechanics. You don't need to do a lot of this shit. A lot of shit that I do on my guns, again, it should just personalize it and make it for me. If a gun is not good enough, stock with nothing on it, that I feel comfortable defending myself with it and not doing anything with it, you're not going to see it on my channel. You're not going to see it on my platform. So make sure that the guns that you like and that you pick up are good to go stock. And then, you want to add a little pizzazz, a little twist, a little bit of yourself to your stuff, go on and do so. There's a market out there for it, and you're supporting two-way companies, and most of these companies are American as well. So yeah, that's the video I have for you guys today. It's a little bit of a long one, but I haven't done a video in a while, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. So we got to hang out a little bit longer than usual. We're getting back on a schedule with releasing videos. So again, I'm gonna start releasing a video a week. Most likely, Thursdays are probably gonna be my release dates. I feel like it's football season. Saturdays and Sundays are just people are busy. So I find that Thursdays are a little bit better days to release. So um, that's updates on the channel. Again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. A lot more collaborations going on in the background that are coming to fruition here soon. And it's all thanks to you guys tuning in and showing me the support that you have. So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Love you guys. Do something great. Be positive. I'll see you guys on the next one. Deuces.